Hello, everyone. Welcome to Kudlow. I'm Larry Kudlow. Now, look I love America. Love America. But sometimes I think the country's gone completely nuts. There are things going on here that should not go on here. Now, I'm all for freedom of speech. It's just that nobody else around here seems to agree with me about freedom of speech, and that's a big problem, beginning with Attorney General Merrick Garland. This story will not go away. Now, my friend Gerard Baker writes that Merrick Garland has a list, and you're probably on it. The AG has a lengthening list of society offenders, including police departments, Republican states, Republican legislators, parents who think they should be involved in their kids' education, and on and on. Garland, undoubtedly at the direction of President Biden, has weaponized the Justice Department against parents and in favor of critical race theory and the teachers' union. This is so utterly ludicrous that even civil liberties expert and Harvard professor Alan Dershowitz has vowed to defend the parents at school meetings, provided they're nonviolent, which is virtually every parent. Now, it turns out Garland has a vested interest. His son-in-law's company, Panorama Education, is a staunch defender of critical race theory, and it trains and consults with teachers to spread it throughout the public education system. You think this has anything to do with Garland's calling on the FBI to prosecute parents who don't think racism should be the most important class in school? I think it does. Unfortunately, it's a very successful company. At a recent workshop run by Panorama includes a slide titled, and I quote, "How White Supremacy Lives in Our Schools," end quote, and of course spends most of the time trashing supporters of Donald Trump. This is Panorama Education. Now, Garland's conflict of interest here, it's a clear conflict of interest, then sort of gets me to Hunter Biden, of course. Hunter Biden, who doesn't paint art, he paints left-wing expressionist crap. He's never taken a drawing class. He wouldn't know a beautiful piece of art if it smacked him in the face while he was walking down a street in the Ukraine. So now, of course, he's selling these pictures for 75 grand. I feel terribly sorry he's not getting 500,000. But he did a preview with a bunch of prospective buyers, or should we say Biden donors, without revealing their names, which he said he was gonna, and which is never done in art circles, never done. Then some pictures were sold, but he won't reveal their names either, even though he said he would. And this is just as bad as all the other lies between Hunter Biden and his father and the Biden family businesses, not one of which is legit, not one. I actually feel sorry for Madam Psaki, who has to defend this garbage in the White House press room, which is a lovely place and deserves better. It's the only White House press room we have. Been there often. Oh, yes. And now I come to Columbus Day, which is under attack because Christopher Columbus, who was a great entrepreneurial risk-taker, who, oh, by the way, discovered the New World, who never even set foot in what we now know is America, and therefore had nothing to do with British colonial practices, but he did open new trade routes around the world. Now he's under attack. Now, frankly, I have no problem with Native Americans or indigenous people. It's just that why are they blaming this guy? Oh, wait a minute. Several millions of Americans believe he's under attack because he is Italian. And by the way, 6 centuries ago, morality was a wee bit different than it might be today. I don't think Columbus went around chopping heads off and killing the indigenous. But then again, down through the centuries, the indigenous did a pretty good job of cutting other heads off. So it was a different game in those days. Meanwhile, the devaluation of Columbus Day has even damaged Columbus Day retail sales, which, by the way, our economy needs all the help it can get. And then, not to exhaust the list of craziness, but we have covered the story of Joe Biden's nominee to be controller of the currency. She is a graduate, of course, of Moscow State University on a Lenin scholarship, who defends the Soviet Union, hates U.S. banks, and, in fact, wants to nationalize our banking system. And now we learn that the Federal Reserve Board just published a paper from an economist who called American society criminally oppressive, unsustainable, and an unjust social order. And recently we learned the Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia has embraced critical race theory in numerous documents on its website, linking to pro-CRT materials and arguing that race-neutral policies uphold racism, and employees cannot use the term founding fathers. They even attacked Christopher Rufo of the Manhattan Institute for being an opponent of CRT. We're going to give him equal time later in the show. All I can say is these examples I have cited this evening come from people who hate America, who hate its revolutionary history, who hate its freedoms, and who hate its free market capitalism. You know, I acknowledge free speech, but I don't have to agree with it. Now, last, I have to mention Let's Go Brandon. Big crowds at NASCAR were chanting derogatory phrases about President Biden. Now, enterprising NBC reporter, who either is very deaf or very clever on her feet, changed it from derogatory Biden chants to Let's Go Brandon, cheering on the famous NASCAR driver Brandon Brown. Let's Go Brandon has become a great popular chant at Trump rallies, Republican rallies, college football games, all over the country. So, you know, folks, I still say I love America. I still say save America, kill the bill. But I'm in such a bad mood about all this anti-Americanism that I'll just finish tonight by saying, let's go, Brandon.